Hello, everyone. On the 25th of August, we are going to have a very interesting T-square, the dissolved T-square, which involves Mercury in Virgo, Neptune, the Neptune Pallas Athena conjunction in Pisces, and at the apex, we will have Astraea in Sagittarius. And it becomes dissolved by the asteroid Lilith in Aries. Why is this interesting or important? First of all, let's talk about T-squares in general, and let's talk about squares in general. Those who are well-versed in astrology probably know that the square is one of the most important aspects because it's a high-impact, challenging aspect. It gives you daily challenges, daily issues that you need to tackle. My master Judy Hall said that there are three, of course, there are three types of squares: cardinal, fixed, and mutable. And she distinguished between the three types from a karmic viewpoint, because she said that cardinal squares are for this lifetime, for this life, this incarnation, and they denote your energy to tackle problems, to be to have the initiative, to be able to start new things. Those who have a lot of cardinal squares, like I do, are usually people who love challenges, who are willing to look at life in a very combative way, and they like to resolve stuff by actually going forward and moving on and stepping into the future instead of just being in the background and being afraid of stuff. So that's the cardinal square. As you know, the cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And these are the season starting signs. So the 4 seasons start with these signs. The more cardinals you have, the more active you are, the more initiative you have. And it also gives you some sort of courage, which others don't really always recognize, because they do see your combative side, but they don't see that this comes out of a willingness to find new stuff and new things in life. Judy was said that fixed squares are the most difficult ones, because they usually denote issues that the native has encountered in previous lives many times, but never actually resolved them. In fact, never even started resolving them. And the more fixed square you have, the more fixed signs you have, the more stubborn and immovable you are. Yes, you are able to complete things, and you are able to be very conscientious and even productive in a way that whatever you start, you want to finish, you want to complete. The more cardinal you have, the more initiative you have, the more fixed signs you have, the more you are able to complete stuff. If you have too many cardinals and very few fixed, then you start new things all the time, but you never complete anything. Okay. At the same time, then you have almost no or very little cardinals, very few cardinals, sorry, and a lot of fixed signs, then you don't really initiate anything, and you may get stuck in your life, especially when you have squares. So not just fixed signs, but planets in fixed signs, but they are in a square relationship. That those are very debilitating. The reason is very interesting, and I could show you with a book or something. I will try. Why we don't see squares. This is not Judy Hall, this is my teaching technique, and whenever I start teaching beginners and we come to the square, this is how I explain it. So here I have, let's say this is a book, it's actually my diary, but let's call it a book. So here you see one angle of this book. And when I ask you, you know, how big this book is, you can say it's quite big. How thick is it? You can say, well, not quite, it's kind of middle-sized. But when I ask you the question, is it good, interesting, or bad, dull? The honest answer is, you don't know. Why not? Because you don't see the title. But if you look at this side of the book, you will see the title. You can actually realize whether you are interested in it at all or not, but you won't see how thick it is. Okay, so a square is so difficult because you only see one side of the story. Anything at right angle behaves like this, and squares are right angles practically, because they are the 90 degrees, dividing the circle by 4, you get 90 degrees. So they simply cannot be resolved because you never see both sides. It's very different from an opposition where you practically see perfectly well the other side. You just can't reach it because it's so far away. But squares are really difficult because you either look at one side of the story, but then you don't see the other, or you jump to the other side of the story, but then you don't see the previous one. So you have to learn somehow to remember what those two things mean and how they behave in order to incorporate it in your psyche, in your system. So according to Judy Hall, fixed squares are really, really debilitating. They are very difficult to resolve. Sometimes a whole lifetime is not enough even to start tackling them, to tell you the truth. I see clients over the time. I've been an astrologer for more than 30 years now, and I still have recurring clients who came to me at the start when I started my practice. And they come back and they have the same exact issues that they had 30 years ago. So what's the point, you might ask? Well, fixed squares are very, very hard to resolve. So, and then the mutable squares, which are the season ending signs, okay? Those usually are very flexible. They denote, according to Judy Hall, issues that you have been trying to tackle many, many lifetimes. You haven't succeeded yet, but you do have a chance in this lifetime, in this incarnation, to resolve them, simply because they trigger a lot of changes in your life. And you are prone to changes, and you actually like changes. You like flexible stuff, and you are yourself flexible if you have a lot of mutable positions. And so out of the three, maybe the easiest to resolve is the mutable square, but the most interesting is the cardinal square, and the most difficult is the fixed square. On the 25th of March, the 25th of August, we will have a mutable T-square, at the apex of which you will have Astraea. Astraea is the karma breaker. And the whole configuration is interesting because you have Mercury in its own sign. In karmic astrology, we consider Chiron the ruler, or at least the co-ruler of Virgo. But in tradition, Mercury rules Virgo. And opposite Mercury, you have the Neptune Pallas Athena conjunction in Pisces, both retrograde. Neptune is very strong as well because it's in its own sign, but it's retrograding. And retrograde planets usually act inwardly, passively, receptively, magnetically, while direct planets move on actively. Their impact is more active and direct and electric. Let's put it this way. So Mercury-Neptune oppositions denote lies, pulling the wool over somebody's eyes, deception, not seeing the truth. Pallas Athena-Mercury oppositions, or any Pallas Athena-Mercury aspects by definition, combine chatter, Mercury, with wisdom, Pallas Athena. And when they are in an opposition, you need to distinguish between chit-chat, Mercury, okay, just gibberish sometimes, and you need to uncover the wisdom beneath or out of the voices that you can hear. Really pay attention to what is wise, what is true. And Neptune, of course, is covering all that. So it's quite interesting, the energy pattern. Look what's happening in the United States, what's happening in Afghanistan, what's happening in the world. You really don't know who to believe. And what I find really fascinating is the fact that with Biden, his own people are turning against him. I think Biden, I'm really sorry for Biden, because I don't think he has a clue. I don't think he even knows what he's doing. I think he is an old, disturbed man. This is how he looks like, at least. This is how it comes across when he speaks. Sometimes you don't even understand what he wants to say. He's an old man. It's very, very, very ungraceful. I don't know even how to label this whole process. He will be deposed. Soon Kamala Harris will be the president. This was all along the plan. This is what I think. Kamala Harris would never have been accepted as president. She would never have been voted for. And in this way, the powers behind the scenes achieve what they wanted. This is what's happening. And this is the perfect T-square explanation, because you have Astraea at the apex. And Astraea is the karma breaker, the destiny changer. So this whole deception, pink fog, I don't know what's true, and even the opposite is no longer true, or I don't know how to distinguish between truth and falsehood. Well, Astraea is stepping in and saying, okay, with the high impact energy of the squares, something will happen, something will change. The destiny of the world is changing. And then comes the savior, let's put it this way, the dissolver of the T-square, asteroid Lilith, who in Aries casts a trine, a fire trine to Astraea. And fire is the element of transformation. So this mutable T-square is dissolved by the asteroid Lilith. And those who know the Lilith myth know that there are three turning points in the myth. The beginning of the story is that Lilith says to Adam that I don't want to be beneath or below you, which simply means that I want equality. I don't want a hierarchical system. I don't accept patriarchy or the patriarchal rule because I know that I'm the goddess, and I know that the creator goddess created the world. I understand that this is a new age. This is the age of patriarchy. I see that there is a god now instead of a goddess. Okay, fine. I still don't want to be below you. So that's the gist of the story. And of course, then Lilith is not accepted. She is leaving paradise. She's leaving the Garden of Eden. But the asteroid Lilith symbolizes the moment in time when she is revolting against injustice. So the asteroid Lilith in a chart, if it's prominent, describes your ability to revolt against injustice. So on the 25th, we are going to have this configuration. It's not going to last too long because Mercury at the moment is quite fast. Its daily travel is about 1.5 degrees. So in 2 days, it's going to come out of the opposition, the tight opposition with Mercury. And it's definitely leaving the T-square simply because configurations have a very tight orb, only 1 to 2 degrees at maximum. So in 2-3 days, it will move out of the whole thing. With the asteroids and Neptune, those placements will remain intact for a couple of more days. Actually, the Pallas Athena Neptune conjunction will be staying within orb for at least 2 weeks, as far as I remember, because they both are retrograding. Then Pallas Athena will overtake Neptune, and then when it turns direct once more, we will have another Neptune Pallas Athena conjunction sometime later on, and Neptune will be stationary on November the 30th and December the 1st, sometime around that date, and it will turn direct by the beginning of December for sure. That's it for now. I hope you liked it. You can message me on my YouTube channel. You can actually go to my YouTube channel and subscribe and hit the little bell, and then you will receive notifications. And you can leave me messages in the panel underneath. What would you like to hear about? And I will try to talk about stuff that you would like to hear. Goodbye for now.